There's some really good rabbit sign here coming in through that narrow spot. That'd be a really good spot to set a snare. And looks like it's coming straight across here and going over there, so we could easily set up a double snare and potentially catch 2 rabbit. That's the key here to winter survival. Birch bark. This is a white birch, so whenever we come across a white birch, we pick some birch bark up. It's filled with really good oils to get our fire going. It's a small birch, but we can still get a little bit, and that won't damage the tree at all, as long as you don't over harvest and get down to the green wood parts of the tree. We should be fine. So these will go in my pocket. I'll keep that dry. And we've got a pretty sunny day. You never know when the weather might turn, especially winter conditions. It is just below the point of freezing, which means we're not too worried about rain. But if it gets any warmer than this, you can see how clear the sky is. But if it gets any warmer than this, it could start raining, and then we could be a heap of trouble. So I am just trying to find a place to set up, and I want to set up on rabbit sign. I got minimal gear here with me, just winter stuff. I'll get into that a little bit later. So this is a typical snowshoe hare path. You can see the 2 back feet, that's the snowshoe part, and that's the front feet. So you know that hare is running this way. And then of course you guys all know what a rabbit pellet looks like, a hare pellet. It looks like a little cocoa puff, but of course that's not edible. So I want to show you over here, just if I can get the shadows out of the picture here, just how much sign there has been dropped all through there. Trails all through here. There's more sign again over here, up through there, and almost everywhere I look is rabbit sign all the way up in through here. So it should be pretty productive. And when I'm trying to find a hare, what I'm looking for is those little gullies there with the trees overhanging. And sometimes a hare will hide down in those little gullies there. Those will be the daytime haunts where they'll hang out. It looks like a really good spot down in there under that log, right there where a hare would be hanging out. So I'm going to look in all those spots under there. There's a little bit of shelter where they can hang out. Well, I think that cinches it. With all that sign here, I can settle in. I've been walking for a couple hours already, trying to find the perfect spot, and this looks like it. We got a good opening over there, and if I use that backdrop, I might be able to set up a really nice sheltered setup out of the wind if it should pick up. But most important, as I said, is to get on the food. So let's get our gear situated. Let's find a place where we can ditch our gear and really start focusing on shelter first and then food. But look at the sign in here. This is absolutely exactly what I was looking for. It's nice and sheltered in here. So I think this is where we're going to set up. So there has to be a really good spot where those hare are really hanging out. But it seems to be a core area over here with lots of runs. And I don't want to step on the runs just yet. I'm just kind of get a feel of how the hare are using this. And it looks like they're running this gut here from over there. So what I'm going to guess is there's a ridge over there. This is going to act like some kind of a funnel. I don't know what that ridge is made of, but I'm going to go check over there because that might be a good spot to set up. So here's a good tree here. The top's blowing off of it. So it might be some good firewood, although it might be wet. I can't really tell, but I do want to set up where I have firewood. There's a couple of dead ones behind me with the tops blown off. But what I'm really interested in finding is a spot to set up my shelter. I am still looking for hare because they're literally, I could be right on top of them, and there are trails like coming absolutely everywhere through here. But let's have a look. Man, there's so much rabbit sign here. Everywhere I look, there's rabbit sign. Can you guys tell how shelter it is in there? I'm trying to move some of these sticks out of the way so I can have a better look. But it's hard to tell maybe with the shading. But right down in there is a gully, and And see all the way to the back. Yeah, I can see all the way to the back. So that looks like a good spot there. Almost got something naturally made that I could just duck into. Of course, I did plan on building a specific type of shelter, so I brought some minimal tools for that purpose. But there's no point in fighting the world if you have something ready-made there. I can clear some of those limbs. I've already got a roof. You guys can see over top there's a ledge of snow that would work really well for my purposes. And I am set up on sign. Can you guys tell that? I cleared some of these trees out, cleared some of the snow, had a few branches over here. I'll have a nice backdrop to set up on. That looks pretty sweet. Oh man, bushwhacking's not easy with a sled, with no trail. So I'm glad to be done with that part of the business. Now, I'm gonna clear out some of these trees here to make a nice sheltery spot. So I've got some tools to work with, and we'll whip through this. Well, my first favorite tool, and one that is gonna be an EDC for me, everyday carry, is these loppers. They are made by Katoso, and they're super sharp, and they make really quick work of small branches, so I can use that to cut whatever I need for the shelter top, if I'm going to go with a spruce shelter top. And I'm just clearing some of the stuff out of the way, because the more stuff that's in my path as I'm working here, the more everything get kind of bound up. I'm already stuck inside my rope for my tow, and I'm in a tight space, which is what I wanted, obviously. And anything like this, any of these branches won't go to waste either, because it's going to become rabbit food. If I don't get a hare out of here, then the hares will eat because of me. And then of course, for more aggressive cutting, we're going to use something even bigger. This is the foldable Boreal 21. There's also a Boreal 16. It's exactly the same, fold out, compact. Highly recommend this saw. It's for sale, I think, on my website. I'm pretty sure Zach Fowler still carries it. But I recommend this is the 24 actually. There's a 21 and a 16. I do not recommend the 16 unless you want something like super packable and super small. This is a good size because it can cause you cut longer, bigger wood. It's got a longer stroke. I find the 16 stroke is too small because it's only about that big, the blade only about that long. So it's really a lot of extra work that you shouldn't have to do. You know, the effort that comes out of the saw is really about the motion. So if you're short changing your stroke, you're doing a lot of work for no reason on the recovery and cut period. So the bigger the saw that you can manage, the better. All right, let's get rid of some trees. Save this back. This will make for some firewood because this is dry. So we'll make a pile of the dry stuff. Unfortunately, like I said, some of the live trees are going to have to be cut, but that's okay. It's going to be rabbit food. I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but we're working out this hollow here. Try to get some of these overhanging branches. I will take these snowshoes off once I get the area packed down, because that'll mean it won't be breaking through anymore. There we go. A lot of it hollowed out. The rest can be used or be done by hand with the little loppers. Now I take these snowshoes off because they're more of a problem than they are of assistance. You can get all kinds of stuff like this at Bass Pro. Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, they got more than just fishing and hunting stuff. All sorts of useful things for outdoors and survival. You'd be hard pressed to get through the woods without them this time of year. It is up to your waist some places. These come off pretty easy, just the strap at the back, and then they cinch tight with the straps on the top. And once you've got them set how you want them, you pretty much stay there. Get you guys set up here. So I want to show you another tool here. Got the loppers. We got the saw, and then we got tool number 3 here. This is a little shovel from Princess Auto, actually. It can come apart, so it can get it pack up even smaller than that, and it's very handy. It's a very handy winter tool because obviously there's always a lot of snow around, and the snow is a problem, but it's also a solution. Because as you know, we made other structures in the past, quinzees and stuff like that, where we mound snow and dig it out. It's a lot of work. So I wouldn't recommend doing that in a survival type thing unless you're planning on being there for a while, because it does make you very wet. So that's another reason to get rid of the snow here, is because I don't want to be sitting in snow. I don't want to be cooking in snow. I don't want to be hanging around with snow. And then when I put a fire in snow, it's going to melt. I am in a good spot here because it's actually a hill. So once I make my fire down here in front of my shelter, the shelter's flat, which is good to sleep, but the fire here will melt the snow and then it will roll down the hill and it won't make a pool. If you've ever seen any of my survival challenges out on the lake, it melts the lake. It's not like you're going to go through, but then it puts your fire out because the water has no place to go. And if you drill holes, water comes up out of the lake and then it gets into your fire. So it's a non-stop battle of trying to keep your area dry, your fire dry, and your coals alive. So I'm going to clear out as much of the snow as possible, and I'm going to cut off any stumps I have left. And of course my little loppers again will come in handy to clean up whatever little branches I don't want in my face, because I find it very annoying to stand up and you have a branch in your face and you feel really claustrophobic, and then everything just, it's 10 times more work when you've got things in your way. So let's get the snow out of the way. All right, well, that's a little bit of work done. Oh, just throw my gloves down. I don't want to be sitting on anything that's gonna make my butt soak through. You can see I got a little bit of work left. I want to get rid of, this is dry dirt. So that's how sheltered this spot is from the elements. You can see the natural shelf formed with the snow up top. So I actually don't have to do anything to stop myself getting rained on or snowed on. If it does rain, eventually that's going to give way, but for now I'm okay. And then once I clear all this out, I'm actually up against the tree root. This is it's a fallen tree. The tree goes all the way over that way, and it's made a natural lean-to. My plan today was actually to build, well, until I found this spot, was to build a snow trench. It's kind of like digging a grave. The snow may not be deep enough here to be able to do that, but you want like 5 feet of snow and you just dig a trench out. And then I brought a tarp with me so I could put the tarp over top of the trench and then be done with it. That was going to be super simple, so I could spend more time trying to get food. Because you got to split your attention. If you want to go for food, you can't spend a whole day doing your shelter. It's got to be quick and dirty, and then you just got to put up with it after that. Whatever it is, it is. If you guys can find a nice rock cliff and you put a fire not behind you and face it, but in front of you with the rock face behind you, it'll reflect all that heat. So it's kind of like having a blanket over top of you. So when you got your fire out front, the fire heat is being reflected to your back, which is warming it. Because as you know, fire is radiant heat, and it just radiates in whatever direction it wants to go, whatever direction is the easiest path it goes. So you got to trap that somehow. So I've got this over top of me trapping the heat as well. And like I say, the backdrop is going to protect me from any wind coming over this way, and also collecting and storing that heat. Now I've caught my breath, I'm going to do a little bit more work here in this little knoll to get it all situated. I want to clear up my entryway here so that it's easy to get in and out. So that'll be the next thing, and then after that we can move on to the other necessities of survival. Whoa, look how deep I went over my knees right there, just getting out of my snowshoes. So that just tells you what kind of job those snowshoes do for you. Watch, put my weight up there, that's up to my knee. I actually hit something in the ground there. So obviously those snowshoes help you float. Here's a look at my shelter from the other side here. You can see it's a nice tucked away spot. Actually, I thought to bring another luxury item. well, another item I should say. It's not a survival item, but it is indeed a luxury item. It's a hunting pad. You guys can pick this up in any store like Bass Pro, Cabela's Bass Pro. It's just a foam, the thermoset. Super valuable for winter survival because you can literally put it down anywhere and it's going to stop your butt from getting wet. I am sweating a little bit, so I gotta take my time getting back going, but I'll look over here. This is what I'm looking at. I might have to adjust there, the camera. My snowshoes over there, my backpack over there, which is just camera gear anyway, and then I've got my snow sled over there. So this is a good sheltered view of everything that's going on here. So what I want to do next is I want to clear this spot over here so it makes coming in and out easy. All that rabbit sign I was looking at was all over in this area here. So that's what I'm going to kind of explore, and then the rabbits kind of go over this way, and then there's a big hill up over here where the sun is, so I'm expecting the rabbits to kind of skirt over this way, but we'll find out when we start looking around. My trees here that I saved from the trimmings, so I'll start a wood pile. There we are, some more wood. So I got my longbow here for active hunting. We got some arrows here. These are from Jay Valenti at Vision Quest Outdoors. Well, I don't know if he makes these for sale, but he did make them for me. You can see that stone point there. So I'm going to use that for hunting. It's a wooden arrow. It's got, I think it's a turkey feather fletching. So we are going to snare as well. But I'm going to combine the two, so that's going to be the fun part. I'm going to do a hare drive. So I'm going to set up snares on sign on the trails. I'm going to walk around. I'm going to try to drive some rabbits, some hares out of their haunts, their daytime haunts, in the snares, and hopefully get something to eat before nightfall. That's the goal. We will find out if that's going to work or not. It's a little bit of a long shot, but I have had this be successful before. So of course we also have, as always, a snowshoe hare. So I took Courtney out the other day and we went to a favorite spot that I like to snare hare in. And as we were walking out, I told her, stop right now, there's a hare, a snowshoe hare, and it's staring right at us and you should be able to see it. So she stood there for a while, we stood there for a while before she noticed, and she said, I'm actually kind of embarrassed because I should see it but I don't. But I had seen it for a long time before anyway, and I had better vantage points. So anyway, eventually Courtney got her hunter eye, and she spotted it. So the plan then was to set some snares up around the hare on its prominent trail so that when it left, I would be able to snare it and then come back the next day and pick it up. That was the idea. So I went up next to it, Courtney filmed me, and I set up a snare on one of the roots, and then tried to see if I got a little bit closer to set up on the other side, and then the rabbit started walking a little bit, just not taking off real fast, but just kind of taking off. And so, you know, kind of the jig was up at that point. So I went and I set up another snare on the exit route, and then we kind of tracked it because we wanted to see where it ended up. And then I noticed that it was kind of going toward another set of snares I had set up down in the lower part. So I thought, okay, get Courtney on one side, I'll go on the other side, and we'll try to funnel it down and push it through another snare and then get it right there. Well, when you know, it got into a bunch of brush. I spotted it down in the brush and I said, it's right below me. And so I had to make my way around. Well, then it turned back the other way, went back up the hill, and I'm like, watch this. And I think I said it on camera, it's going right toward the other snare. And then what happened?
And then I saw it in the snare. It actually happened.
So Courtney saw it in the snare, and then what'd you do?
I left.
She didn't laugh.
I left.
She left.
I had to go. I had things to do.
So she said, what do you want to do with the camera? And I said, oh, just give me the camera. So I went up, and basically I made the snare work more efficiently, if you catch my drift. So we caught this hare together. We tag teamed. So this is actually the first time, besides catching a fish, that Courtney's ever actively killed an animal. And how did you feel?
It was more passive.
No, like, that's active. Like, you set the snare, we set the snare. You pushed it into the snare.
So I got the the excitement, I guess, of chasing it, pursuing it. But then once it was caught, I didn't really want anything to do with it.
And actually, I did another hunt with the longbow with Jeremy a while back. On the other side of it from me. Like 10 feet in front of you, 8. I think he's in the gully from me. Probably have a shot. You want to try to shoot? Yeah. You running? Yeah, I'm recording. Okay. See him? Yeah, I see him. Yeah, I didn't see him there. I thought I thought he might have been a little further up. Yeah, he was close. We kind of circled it. We knew where it was. There was lots of sign around. It was all fresh sign. We encircled this area here. And my vantage, I had a closer shot, only a few feet, but I couldn't see the hare. Hares they're funny. They like to sit. They rely very heavily on their camouflage. They don't like to run because they're not very good long distance runners. Probably a lot had to do with the diet. So this hare was just sitting there, and Jeremy crept over top, and you could see it. He's using his primitive equipment too, a longbow, and he launched an arrow, and he just barely missed it. And what I learned from that was something I kind of knew before, but that experience sort of solidified it. Is I kept pursuing the hare through a whole bunch of blowdowns and like really tight area off of a swamp, so it was very, very dense. It was very gruesome to get through, but this hare did loops, which I knew before. It was interesting to experience it, and it kept going over the same paths over and over again. So I ended up, like, hares normally run and then they stop, but this one for some reason I kept bumping it in tight spots. I couldn't see it close as I was near to be able to shoot at it. So this hare basically kept going, which was very annoying for me. But then after I did this loop a couple of times, and Jeremy set up a spot, and then we waited for the hare to come back. But the hare used the same trails over and over again. So my thought is, and I have done this before, is to set up snares and then try to get the rabbits moving in this area and drive them through the snares. Because sometimes the rabbits don't move at night, so sometimes you don't get a hare by morning. That's your best bet, is they'll move at night and they're nocturnal. But sometimes they don't move, so sometimes you don't eat. So this is a way of combining the two and hopefully getting food a little bit faster. So we'll see if that works. I have some hopes it will. But these all hang up at camp as well, and probably just take 1 or 2 arrows with me and then try to get through the thicker stuff. Well, now that we're set up, let's find something to eat, because I'm starving. So snaring hare is pretty simple. You only need a few items, which I have, well, really one item. This is 20 gauge snare wire. This is brass. You can get this at Cabela's Bass Pro. Any hardware store pretty much carries it as well. And then I've got my loppers. The loppers isn't the ideal tool for this. However, it's what I have. You could probably bend it enough times it might break as well. So we're gonna go back. I earmarked in my brain some spots where I'm gonna set up some snares. There's trails all through here, but we're gonna hit the main ones and go from there. I'm not bringing my longbow with me, which may be a mistake. But if I know hare and I'm looking around enough and I find one, I'll probably be able to pretend to ignore it and then go back and get my bow. because that's kind of how this is going to go. I'm going to walk around and I'm going to set up, you know, 5 or 10 snares, something like that, on the most traveled routes. And then we're going to go back up with the bow and start walking around and try to get those hares on the move. And if we stir them up enough, they should go through the snares. So I did see the most sign over here. So that's where we're headed right now. There's a heavy trail here. And there's another heavy trail here. But what I'm looking for is a narrowing. So we could probably take advantage of the fact that the hare are coming back in the same spot. They're actually split here, so I can block that off. And there's just tracks everywhere through here. We're gonna have to come back around on the other side and attack it from that side. I don't want to disturb the trail. It's really a matter of getting those most heavily used trails. Otherwise, we're just wasting our time and energy and effort. So here it is. There's the heavy used trail. It was actually a lot easier just to come around here. So I did come up against it once before. So right here, that's the money spot right there. And there's actually over here, because there's a fork here and then there's a fork here, and they join together and they go right here, and then they head that way all together. So every single hare that's over here, we can drive right through that spot there. So I don't have a good stick to anchor on in here. It's not exactly where I want it. There's one a little bit further up, but it's going to be just a pain in the butt to get right where I want it. So I'm going to add a stick right where I want it instead. And that won't go anywhere. Hares aren't very strong. They're not going to be able to take that stick anywhere. And then we'll just clear our area to work on here. And then after that, it's really a matter of getting the height right. So we do want it centered over the trail. We will shrink this trail a little bit after, but just to get it right in the right spot here, get her lined up, put her tree over if we want to or have to, and then we just want to get it nice and set up. So anything coming in here is going to be like, okay, well, I guess the only place I'm going to go is right through there. And then I like to take my thinner sticks, my wispier sticks, because I want the hare to be able to think it can push right through there and not have to worry about getting, like, you know, stepping on things that are not good, not pleasant. So obviously when the hare comes up, he's going to keep going in there with some speed. So we want to move anything out of the way that's going to make that hare think that he's got to slow down. So anything like this should be moved out of the way, and we can use that for guiding over here. And then because we stepped here and we kind of messed up the trail a little bit, we'll add a little bit of guiding over here. So anything coming over there, the hare is gonna see that. So over here too, you want to block that off. So if that hare comes to here, you're gonna know he should come this way. And as long as you don't get too carried away with stuff like this, the hare is naturally gonna follow the easiest path of resistance, because that's what all animals do. So as it's coming down through there, it's going to be guided right in there. So if I push anything in that woods there as I'm hunting, it's going to go that way. So there's my snare there. I don't know if you guys can see it. I think you can see it right there. It's about a fist size loop, and then below it we've got our guiding sticks on both sides. And you should be able to see the trail that's formed here. Goes from here all the way through in there. That snare almost disappears there, but then the trail goes all the way past. So what I'm going to do is follow this trail up here. I'm going to add another couple of ones all the way up through here, and then I'm going to do a circle loop around here and add a couple more before I get hunting. So I know you guys probably don't want to see me set up a whole bunch of snares, so we'll get to the hunting business. That's a lot more exciting. All right, so got my longbow here. This is from Ray Riverbend Longbows, made this for me. Custom made bow. And these are for sale, so you can pick one up if you want. Really well shooting bow. I'm gonna string it up. Hopefully I can do this with my snowshoes on. Yeah, I don't know if I can. So that's how I do it. But there's probably an easier way to do it than that. There we go. Forget where the draw weight on this is. I think it's 60 inch and it's 49 at 28 inches. So lots of oomph. We'll pair that up with the arrows and we can go for a walk and hopefully get some food because I'm getting hungry. It's always a really good idea to put your hood on. As soon as we start smashing into all those trees, we are 100% going to get some snow down our back. Ugh. And get situated here. So we're going to look something like that. Do we look threatening to a rabbit? I would say so. Deadly. Come on, snowshoe hare. Oh, there's lots of sign coming up here. So I want to see where they are on this hill. But I want to do a little bit of a loop here and then come back and push everything down this hill into my snare trap down there. I'm going to say there could be hares sitting almost anywhere in here. Looking for ears, tips of ears. The dirty color. Because the snow is pure white, but a hare is not. A hare is blotchy, and like spots down like in there would be good too. And it could be sitting right on top of a hare. I think I see one there under that log. I don't know if you guys can see it. And try to get. Can't shoot from here, there's too many branches in the way. Let me get a little bit closer here. Oh, shoot, shoot, there it goes. Where is it going? On the run already. I don't know if you guys got it on film or not, but look at this. Look at all the tops of these trees chewed off. That's got to be hare eating that. It's not as much sign up here on the hill. Our shelter's just down over here, so I'm thinking they're probably down below. It opens up a little bit more here, so I'm guessing they don't like this open section as much. I thought it might be thicker. It'd be nice to find some sign up around here where those trees are down, but I'm not seeing much of anything down there. Maybe we kick that rabbit through. So here's some really good rabbit sign, not just for the tracks, but also all these trees have been eaten, and then all down there, if you can see those trees down there, they've all been chewed on. So there's probably a hare in here somewhere. It really seems like there would be a rabbit in here somewhere. There's lots of sign coming in here. There's a spot where they've been feeding over there, you guys can see. And it's nice and thick in there. But I can't see in it. And if I go any closer, I might bump whatever's in there out. But as you guys know, that might work to our advantage if we bump them into one of our snares. I really think I see one right there, guys. I don't think you guys are going to be able to see it, but I sure can. I can see the eye. Right there, I can see the eye. I can see the messed up fur. So we're gonna see if we can get a crack at this guy here.
So you're gonna have to watch the replays, because if you're as much of a naturalist as I am, you're gonna want to try to figure out exactly where this hare is. So that's 3 runs at normal speed, and we're gonna slow it down and we're gonna zoom in more and more. Now, I did spot this hare before it left, so in person it was a little bit easier, so I'll give you that. But I want you to be as amazed as I am about how many times this hare can literally materialize out of thin air over and over and over again. And I've digitally analyzed this. I've tried to pull out some still frames to try to pick this hare off. But the only thing that really stands out is when the hare moves, I can easily spot it. So just watch the inflection point from when that hare realizes it's in danger. And granted, if I wasn't filming this adventure, I probably would have taken the shot. I was trying to get a decent video of the shot, and there was too many branches I would have just been poking in. I could tell it was there, but it was not because it was a sum of the parts, right? It was like I didn't see the eye, I didn't see the ears, but I saw the matted fur, and that really gave me the clue that I should be able to see it, and it was there. And then I kind of added things together more and more the more I looked in that spot. So really, to me, it wasn't like I saw the eyes or the tips of the ears. It was really the fur and the environment. It looked like a really, really good rabbity spot, and the more time I spent there, the more time I could see it. But I want you to also recognize the dedication that this hare had to holding its position. I'm only maybe 5 steps away, but it feels protected enough until I really start focusing and cluing in on it, and until it probably clues into the fact that if I'm like, a fox or a wolf, I can maybe make a dart for this and maybe jump on it if it doesn't move. So that's really what the hare is relying on, its cover. And I want to point out just how good you have to be at hunting hare in order to be able to get one in order to be able to see one, I should say, not able to get one. To shoot one is another matter altogether, but actually to be able to spot a hare in its natural environment is exceedingly difficult. And I would say it's even harder to do in the summer because you have to deal with a lot more vegetation. So these animals are amazing creatures, and they have, under pressure, adapted to their environment and to all the predators that they have to face in order to live out in the natural world. Truly an amazing animal, the snowshoe hare.
I hope I got that on camera. I did chase him out that way towards the snares. I just pushed my luck. That hare was in some nasty, gnarly stuff in the cedars, but now I know where its haunt is, and there's a good chance it's going to come back here. It went over that way, so I'm going to do my best to circle back around here. That's unfortunately what happens when you pursue them, is that oftentimes where they're sitting, they're not giving you a good place to get a shot off. And I probably could have punched through the brush there and just shot, but I do want to get the shot on camera. Unfortunately, I don't think you guys could see it, but maybe I'll zoom in on there for you guys to see what I saw. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be smart about this. I'm I'm gonna make a little bit of a trail this way here, which is actually a better approach. And what I can do is actually circle back around. I don't know if I'll be able to catch up to this hare or not, but if I do, I can come back up here. There, I cleared that spot out, so tricks of the trade, right guys? There's nothing fair about survival. So that hare went that way. We're going to keep driving him. Maybe we'll drive him into the snare. We'll see. I see a rabbit is staring at me. Right there. It's in an absolute mess of stuff. I don't think I could squeeze an arrow in there, but I'm going to try. It's funny, normally they look sideways, but this guy's jammed right in that crack. I don't even know if I could fling an arrow in there, but I just strung my bow up. Got an arrow. And that stupid rabbit took off. No, he's not there anymore. Fart. I thought if I turned around he wouldn't pay any attention to me anymore. I don't even know which direction he went. I hope you guys saw it anyway. If I'm learning nothing else, it's how much tolerance these hares have for movement. How much I can get away with and how close I am. I was about 10 feet and the hare put up with quite a bit. I actually walked by only 5 feet away, but I didn't spot it until it was 10 feet. I walked past it. And I've got everything taken down, my bow and arrows and everything, because it's getting caught on everything. Same with my snowshoes, they're getting caught everywhere. So I took them off. But I'm getting the rabbits on the move. Hopefully drive them into my snare route. Well, it's been a few hours. I came back, checked that haunt. Did not come back, but the weather's changed too. It's raining now. So we're in some pretty tough conditions. But with the weather change, I don't know where those hares would be hanging out. I would imagine they would try to find a little bit more cover from the rain, but I don't know. I don't know what they would do in the rain. Imagine they would be more under a log, which might be more out in the open, but less sheltered from the edges, just to get out of the rain. They won't want to get any more wet than I do. So I'm going to be looking now more under logs than anything else. I might have to go back and get the snowshoes. Over here, there's this little void here, which is I think where it ducked into. And then there's a couple of tunnels and exits. And while I was looking this way, that hare could have easily went over there under that, and then could have continued when I wasn't looking. So, or it could be just, there's a hole there. You guys can see that. There's a hole right there that the hare could hide into. There's another haunt in there, but no hare. And I'm up to my waist now, because I jumped down off the tree up here. And my boots are stuck. It's like I'm in cement. There we go. Well, keep looking around here, but I think this one defeated me again. So that hare probably has a backup haunt, but I would have no idea where it is. And it went a fair distance, but we'll do our best to try to catch up. Well, I thought maybe there might be something down in there, but I've never known a hare to go underground, at least not during the day, although there are rabbit pellets down there, so I'm not sure. I don't think they like to go underground because then there's not really any way to escape. So anywhere I see a concentration of rabbit sign, droppings and tracks, I'm really trying to go all angles around and try to spot the hare, because I know there's more around here. I freaking just bumped another one. I don't got my snowshoes on anymore. And it's coming up this hill here. The snow is really super deep. And right there, so I bumped it around the hill. But I can't get through there, it's way too thick. That's what they're hanging out in, all that junk. Try to locate it again. It's such a mess of stuff in it. Well, I'm gonna go check the snare one more time on the way back to camp, because I'm going that way anyway. I did a big loop around the other side here, and I tried to drive anything that I could over this way. So you never know. That's that main trail there. So I will look in here in case I push something and it locked up in there somewhere, because that's where the cover is. That's the main cover. Now I know the sun is over here, so I know my shelter's over this way, and I know I set the snare here somewhere. There's the trail there. Ah! No way. You guys see that right there? Look, look, right there. Do you guys see that? I hope you guys see that. We actually, no way. We actually got ourselves a rabbit. There we go. We got ourselves a cottontail rabbit here. Oh shoot, it wrapped himself up. That's why sometimes these rabbits, they don't die right away if they don't get caught, but this one looped itself around and cinched up. See, he wrapped himself up top, which cinched him up higher because he was able to run around this thing a couple of times and made it for efficient, quick kill. So there's our hare. Brand new, fresh kill. Look at that. Nice. And if we're lucky, he wouldn't have messed up this snare too badly that we can reset it here. We'll get that. I don't know. We might have to undo it here. We'll undo the snare and get set up, because we're going to have to get it going back for tomorrow morning as well. And like I can show you how we just run it over our knee. That'll get all of those kinks out. We'll have to take the whole thing apart actually to be able to do that. And you don't have to use your knee. You can use a tree. Tree works good. You want to make sure that it's not looped up too much. There we go. And we get look at that. We get a nice roll in that. And then we can easily get that set up. You should never be happy with just one hare. You should always try to improve your odds by getting more. You never know when the last hare you're going to catch. There we go. Set up our guiding back up. best we can. There we go. Okay. Well, I'm super stoked about that. Wasn't sure that that was going to happen, but oh, a lot of work went into that hare. I'll tell you what. Oh, that is a success as far as I'm concerned. Whoo-wee, let's go. Giddy up. Yeah, boy. There we go. There's a beautiful snowshoe hare. Absolutely gorgeous snowshoe hare. There we go, buddy. That's how it's done. Whew. So, really surprised that worked out, but it did. Fresh caught. See, this is what you're looking for when you're trying to find a hare in the woods, is you're looking for those tips. See, against the backdrop, you'll always see those black tipped ears, and then you'll see the black eye. So that's how you know. And they don't look the same color as snow. They look pretty good, but you see on the undercoat, it's black. They do keep, obviously, a color of their winter or summer, right? The summer they're brown to blend in. In the winter they turn white. And so you can tell that this rabbit is probably getting closer to their summer coat now than their winter coat. That'll shut off the white. But you can see it's because of the undercoat, it doesn't look like the hair is the same color. It's not pure white like snow. It's got a dirtier texture, and it's got all that wispiness, and you can spot that when you're looking for it. So that's pretty good. We got ourselves some food to eat. That's a big win. There, that's a nice one. Nice, two nice ones. That'll get good fire going. That one's nice and dry, really dry actually. Good, all right. Well, let's head back to camp. Well, I'm a little bit concerned of running out of daylight because I do want to have a fire overnight. So I'm going to cut some wood up here just so I have a little bit. I will cut some, and then after that it's just going to be about of stacking it. I don't have to cut all of it. As long as it's near camp, I'll be able to see it in the middle of the night, and I can wake up, cut some, get a little bit warm, put it on the fire, and go back to bed. And after I get everything set up, all the other time left is spent collecting firewood. The bottom one's a little bit wet. That's okay, we'll lay it down on the ground and that'll insulate it from the water. We've got a good handful of wood already. We just got to get a whole lot more. See where these clippers are going to come in handy, because we got down to the ground here. And there's just this really annoying tree at the bottom that I can't get rid of I can't get rid of the snow around it, because the shovel just keeps chomping into it. So the loppers do quick work of that. That's exactly where the fire is going to go too. So eventually it'll burn away, but for now, get it out. Sometimes it's hard to tell slopes, but we are on a hill here, so the fire we build here, the water will trickle down the hill and get out of the way as long as we remove all of the snow here. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. Just got that one dumb tree right in the way. Oh, let's get rid of that guy. There. That looks a lot better. Okay. There we go. Again, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's made a nice nook. That's a good distance for the fire. We got no wind, so the smoke should go straight up. Next thing we're going to do here, get Mr. Rabbit out of the way, Mr. Dinner, and all those trees we cut already, right here, will be our fire lay. So that'll get us started. It'll get us out of the ground here, off the ground, out of the wet. We can build on top of that with smaller sticks. So this fire lay is pretty crucial. It gets us up off the ground here. And so, like, some of the coals are going to fall down, but what we don't want to do is start our fire in the water. So this will prevent us from doing that, or having to do that. We just lay our fire up on top here with sticks, and the coals will burn down, but they won't immediately go out. So it's kind of like a floating raft. All right, so the fire lay is all set, and we're actually fortunate to have birch bark, even though I got a little bit in my pocket. It's nice to get a little bit more. Don't have to go too far. Shelter's just over my shoulder. So a little bit of the loose stuff, just fine. Look how deep the snow is. Now I'm up to my waist. Now I'm stuck. Oh, I thought that was going to be easier than it was. All right, so birch bark, and then after that we're just going to grab little twigs. There's probably enough hanging around just the shelter here. Maybe not. Just these little things, but also the stuff I had got before here. We tease this stuff out of the mess, and we'll build that up and get it ablaze, get a good fire going before we do anything else, because we don't really want to be cooking anything on a full blaze fire. So that's essentially how it's going to go, like that, except multiply that by about 100. And then we'll get our blazing up. So you guys know what the most important survival tool in the world is. You better know by now, and you better have one on you. I have like 3 here today, I think. It's a lighter, and this is a story behind this one. It's got Miss Lips on it. I don't know what that means, but Lucky 13, that's a convenience store in North Bay, and apparently there still is one, but this one is from like 1980. I found it in my old snowsuit. You guys know my old purple snowsuit. Obviously not using the purple snowsuit anymore. We got my Striker, my brand new Striker one. But that was always in my pocket. So even if I forgot one when I was ice fishing, I still had one. It was always in my pocket. So this one's always in this pocket. Whew, there we go. That should light up real good. And then while we're waiting for the small twigs to go, we're just gonna load her up like I like to do. Right on the edge of smothering it, because that's how brave I am on my selection of woods, that they're going to be dry enough to go. We'll just spread that out a little bit and let her go. And got my thermoset, my luxury item. Do you get luxury items on the survival challenge? Sure, why not? Here's what I was talking about with the snow being in the way. So we can try to move it, but it might fall in the fire. So what we can do is just let it melt on its own. But we don't want that to fall down in the bottom and snuff out our coals. And then as we're sitting here, when we're bored, we can dig out more snow. Because I got one more luxury item, which I mentioned before, I'm going to use, instead of a roof, I'm going to use for on the ground. You know, how good that fire, that's nice and warm already. That's looking pretty good. It's been a long time since I've had a fire. nice to have. All right, boys and girls, fire's getting down to coals now. Well, we got a little bit of coal, not the driest wood ever, but it's slowly burning. It was dead standing, but it's not burning as well as I thought it would. So snowshoe hare here, you're gonna skin it the same way you would skin, or not gonna really skin it, like a squirrel, or there's nothing to save on here. It's not considered a fur-bearing mammal, so it's not something you could sell. You could keep the fur if you wanted to. So if you were going to do that, you would obviously go around the feet and then cut up one foot to the other, and then you would pull back. It's called case skinning, but we're not going to do that because we want to do it just quick and dirty. So I'm going to do it exactly how I would you know, if I didn't really care about the fur. So the same way I would do a squirrel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the axe and I'm going to cut the feet off and then cut the head off. That just makes everything super easy. So all 4 feet are going to go. Then I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to grab the middle here in the back and I'm just going to pull both ways. We're just going to give her. I can't show you obviously because of how the world works these days, but just like that, we're going to have a chunk of meat. So a little bit of magic and meat. There we go. Just give it a quick rinse off in the snow, get some of the hair off. Not the cleanest job I ever did, but we're a little bit pressed for time. Whoa. How about right up to my waist? As soon as I get off my trail, right up to my waist. All right, oh, that's our snow. We'll take our rabbit. The rabbit's not gonna fit in there because it's gonna sit on top of the snow, but that's okay. Oh, smoke in my eyes. Whew, smoky. Oh, come on, rabbit, go in there. There we go. Oh, there we go. She's steaming. Get that settled in there, nestled on the coals. Can make something a little bit fancier if that doesn't stay. There we go. Whew. 2 pieces of wood. That was a lot of work. Come on. Cut me some slack, man. Oh. I'm way up to my waist again. But the snowshoes were too hard to work with. Oh. Cut some more here. Sun's touching the horizon there now. And now's the time to think about what we're going to do at night here. Whoa, right in the face. This one's better here on the bottom. It's a little bit thicker with no branches on it. To save a little bit of energy, I'm not going to cut them short. keep them long. And then when they cut in half, the fire can cut them in half. I have to make a rack to keep this guy on, but gotta fudge it around here. I'll see if they can pull it down, keep it in the money zone here. Maybe if we add some more water to it, we'll sink her down. Cool. Well, I don't know, is that Bear Grylls or Ready Meters? Or just straight up hack Wooded Beardsman? Another thing we could do is just get the snare wire and then pull the snare wire down, and we'd have a way to adjust it. But it's just pressed into the, oh God, it's so smoky here. Cool. Fine if you're not right in the dang fire. Trying to look at what's going on up here in the alcove. This is actually the money spot. We're getting a little bit of dripping, but that'll get rid of it slowly over time. But this is the real spot. It's not dripping here, it's only dripping out that way a little bit more. We could throw some cedar or some spruce boughs up in there to create more of a roof. But what we're looking mostly for is getting that reflector, and it feels nice and warm here. The snow is melting in this alcove here, and gonna pull out my secret weapon now, my second luxury survival item, and show you what we're gonna do with that right now. There we go. My other survival item is a tarp, which you know, it's probably big enough I can put up on the roof, and I can sit on it if I had to. Obviously I would put it if it was raining. If it was raining, I'd put it up top. If it was snowing, I don't know, might lay in it like a burrito, or I might make like a tent structure. This is more like cobbled together, last minute shelter, not too much work, not too much thinking. It's just basically using Mother Nature to your advantage and tucking yourself into a tree, which is probably what you would do if you were going to survive anyway. Building the quinzies are nice. They take a lot of work. You get wet. They're of questionable value if you're going to stay, you know, if you're going to stay for a while. It makes sense, but you have to have pretty ideal conditions. You got to have a shovel. Change of clothes. They're fun to make, and they're fun to sleep in, but I don't know if I would do it necessarily in survival. In survival, I would just sit under a tree and you know, make a big fire, collect wood. That's about it. So that's going to be the shelter. What do you guys think? Fallen tree. Simple, easy peasy. We'll find my spot. A little lumpy. Oh, there we go, guys. We got a nice good fire going. We've got a flashlight here ready for night. That's the most important thing, because once night settles in and you can't find your flashlight, you're in rough shape. Tell you what. We got a good glow of the fire right here. The rabbit stew is on the works. I threw some adobo spice in there. You guys can grab that from the website. But it should be just about ready to eat. It's been simmering all day. I've got a good load of firewood prepared for the overnight. My bed is how I want it. It's real close to the fire. I got my seat over here, which I'm going to use as a pillow. And this will be a nice dry spot. And mostly I'll be dozing off throughout the night. And then whenever I wake up, I'm going to be putting wood on the fire, I should say. But this is a pretty sweet setup. I'm impressed. I'm proud of what I've been able to do today. It's a good fire. It's nice and relaxing. And I like this break here. It's reflecting the heat nicely. Pretty sweet setup. Well, that sun's heading out. And I've got my rabbit to eat and chew on. I put a stick in there a while ago, and the problem is it's not. It takes hours. Like it literally takes like two hours to kind of get it broken up in pieces. So it seems like I'm going to be able to add some more water throughout the night and just simmer it and try to get it to break down. It may be a breakfast food for me, but that's okay. I don't mind having some rabbit stew, and then I'll be loaded up and ready to go for the big walk out. But I can sip on the broth now, and that'll warm me up. And then as I add more water and it boils off a little bit, I can drink that to heat myself up throughout the night. But I've got the stick set up at a good height where I'm not worried about losing all the water out of the container here, and then I can add more as I sip it out. So it's going to work out pretty good. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's very rabbity. So probably right now I'm eating a little bit of the bone marrow broth and some of the proteins and oils and stuff that are coming out of it. So there's some value there. And the protein's obviously going to still be in the rabbit itself. But it takes a long time to break down those muscle fibers. But this is a good setup. You guys have a chance to do something like this, definitely recommend it. It's going to be a long night, there's no doubt about it. Because I'll have to wake up every once in a while to stoke it. But this snowsuit here, somebody asked me if I could sleep in it, and the answer is yes. I have the shell as well, so I can throw that on. But with this in the hood, honestly, these striker pants, it's like wearing a duvet. That's the best way I can explain it to you. It's like walking around with a sleeping bag on you all the time. I literally do not get cold wearing these. At all, ever. That's why I don't wear the top, because if I wear the top, I'll be so hot, I'll be sweating all the time, constantly. It's that warm. And I don't wear the top during the day, so it doesn't get wet. And then when I lay down in it, it's basically like putting blankets on top of me. It's highly recommended, and they're still waterproof. They don't get wet. So if I'm careful about how much I sweat, I'm not wet when I'm sleeping. So yeah, I just put the hood on. That keeps my ears and my neck is the most important thing to keep from getting too cold. There's a little bit of ash. That's cool. But yeah, sleep system. And then my sleep system, my survival system. And then underneath there, I just wear pajama pants all the time because it's the only thing that I can wear under there. It's thin, it's comfortable. It doesn't bind up or chafe anywhere underneath the pants. So it's a kind of an all-in-one. If I was really, wanting to be luxury, I'd have a change of socks and a change of just pajama bottoms. And then I would just change into that. And then if I want to be even more prepared, t-shirt, long sleeve shirt underneath here, and a new sweatshirt. And I would change that. And that would only be for sleeping. I would not use that during the day. In the morning, I would change back into the stuff I wore the day before and got wet. So I'd always have a brand new dry set of clothing. That's good, but it's getting cold again, so I'll put it back on the fire and we'll keep it the right temperature that it's going to heat my body and do some good. You guys know how I talked to you earlier about making the fire touch the ground to get rid of all the snow. This is the reason why. You can see now there's a really, really nice hot bed of coals there sitting on the ground. It's not going out, and we've melted a perimeter around the fire so that you know, nothing's going out now. Oh, a bit of smoke here, but that's okay. So can't emphasize that enough. You guys are going to do winter survival or winter expedition or just have a fire outside in the winter, clear all the way to the ground, no matter if it's 3 feet, 2 feet, 1 foot, a couple of inches even. Save yourself that grief and aggravation of your fire going out, and give yourself a spot where that bed of coals can form. You see all that bed that originally I put down with the logs is all burnt down now and turned into coal and served the purpose, right? So it gave us a nice place to start our bed of coals, and without putting it out. So a lot less grief that way. Good system. Good thing to think about when you're doing winter survival. I thought I would walk around and see if there's any little bits of trees that I can grab and collect. With the snow out here, I should be able to scavenge some stuff. I do have a flashlight as well, but I don't want to have to rely on the flashlight. But any little sticks I can find nearby, just to add last minute to the pile, would be good. I should have enough. I don't plan on relying exclusively on the fire. It's not cold tonight, but and I've got good enough, you know, clothing and everything. It's clear sky. It's not going to snow. Shouldn't be too bad. So top the fire up a little bit more here now. It's nice to go to bed warm. We'll probably wake up chilled a little bit, but that's okay. It's just incentive to get the fire going again. There we go. A couple of sticks on the fire. It is getting dark now, so I'm gonna grab my light flashlight. I'll have it handy on my head for now, just to see how dark it gets, because I don't want to be kind of searching for it. See, it does a good job. It's freshly charged, but I do want to use it sparingly, obviously. So I figure I'm going to be pretty comfortable here. I've actually got, because of, maybe I'll talk to you guys a little bit about this in the morning, but my stomach issues have still been acting up, but it actually makes it so that I have to sit up, which makes it kind of perfect where I am here now, because I've got a backrest. Like, I don't have to sit up completely, but I have to sit at an angle of like 30 degrees or so, and anything below that, if I lay down any more than that, I get acid reflux. It's not bad. I know lots of people have really bad acid reflux that bother them during the day, so I've been off the proton pump inhibitors now. It doesn't bother me at all during the day, so I think that maybe the antibiotics kind of cleared up whatever's causing that, like the major stuff during the day. But I do have some GERD. I think it's GERD because it's persistent and it's not really diet related. Anyway, I didn't really feel like talking about that right now, but maybe I'll talk a little bit more in the morning. Anyway, that's been, you know, bothering me a little bit, but not so much that I still don't find some enjoyment out of life. I know you guys out there, you've shared some stories in the past of, you know, major things that you guys are dealing with. So I count myself lucky that I've only got the acid reflux and massive bloating. Maybe not massive bloating, but medium bloating. But yeah, it's been good. I'm glad I got a rabbit, and I'm glad I got something to eat, even if I can't eat it till morning. It's good. Life's good. Beautiful night. Nice and calm. No wind. None at all. Beautiful. The fire is just perfect. Just sparks up every once in a while. Nice bed of coals. Really don't have much to complain about. That's for sure. So whatever you're dealing with, I hope you're having some success with that. Just coming out and doing these challenges really reminds me how much more difficult things could be if things in my life were not functioning well. If I had to do this all the time, survival all the time, going from hand to mouth, eating just what you can find, is a tough existence. So it's good to keep things in perspective. Doing these challenges really keeps things in perspective, I'll tell you that. That is the truth. Man, this woods is quiet. No birds because we're so far north. There's just no birds out here. Sometimes I hear birds, but not too many. It's just me and the snowshoe hares. And maybe I'll catch another snowshoe hare tomorrow morning. Won't be able to eat it, but I'll be able to bring it home and share it. Share a video with you guys and share a snowshoe hare with my family, whoever else wants to eat wild hare. Good morning, guys. The sun's just coming up, it looks like. Never really got super dark overnight, but enough to I don't know what I was gonna say. Winter survival challenges are tough. They're tough because you have to feed the fire. It's the only way to do it. It's the only way to stay going and stay alive. But I mean, you don't have to have a fire, but if you don't have a fire, you got to have enough stuff to keep you warm. So super peaceful. Haven't heard any birds yet this morning. Long walk to go out, and I don't want to do it on an empty stomach, and I don't want to be drinking frozen rabbit. So I'm gonna get some birch bark here, and we'll get that fire started up again. There's nothing worse than having to do a big hike out without any food in your stomach. So there's quite a bit of heat left in this fire. So just get this, whatever's left, sitting here, and we should be able to blow this back up. Might need the saw here. Oh, we might end up having a slightly bigger fire than I planned, but that's okay. It's nice to be able to warm up and pack all our things, dry some of it off. All right, before this gets too hot, I'm gonna have a sip, and I'm gonna finish eating the rest of this rabbit. Whew, it may be a little bit too hot right now. I know you guys have been wanting me to go out to do a survival challenge for a long time, and I'm glad I was finally able to do that. Maybe give you guys a health update before I head out, but been trying to deal with my bloating issues. I have I don't know if it's called SIBO. I don't know if it's SIBO for sure, but it's a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. I'm not sure if that's it, because I tried 2 different antibiotics which are supposed to clear it up, and I didn't end up clearing it up. So I don't know if that's what it is. I'm going to keep trying around things. I changed my diet around, like no sugar, no carbs, no sugars, no what's it called, fiber, no nothing like that, to try to kill off the bacteria. That didn't work, and like I said, the antibiotics didn't work, so that didn't change anything. So I don't know if there is something weird going on, like there's an obstruction there or something else weird, but I'll keep trying. That's good. Rabbity water. Good stuff. I'll work my way down, splash that all together, and eat all the meat. It's kind of like a rabbity bone broth now, which is apparently good for SIBO. Yeah. Little bits of sticks in there. It's all good. Ooh, these are rock solid now. You know, work those fingers in. It's hard to do these challenges. These are not easy for me to put together and to find the time to do them. So that means if you want more like this, you got to take the extra effort and share it as much as you can. If you get 1,000 shares, YouTube loves that. And take the video, go back to the very start of the whole thing, and in a couple of days, 3 or 4 days, play it again. You don't have to sit there and watch the whole thing, but be cognizant enough to let it play all the way through. Skip the ads or whatever as you see them, and that's really going to help the algorithm. It shows the world that it's a good video, and it more widely recommends it. Well, there we go. There he is. And we got a mess of trail camera footage to go through. We got that camera over there too to look through. Now, there we go. Clone number, geez, what'd I get, 4?
Oh, I found it. Yes. Yes. Right there. Its ear just twitched.
I see him. There you go, guys. Well, guys, that was a fun outing. I'm glad I did it. Glad to have you guys along. And if you guys, put it this way, if you guys want more survival challenges like this, share this one. If you watch all the way in, I know you just might do that.